Hello and welcome to Off the Beaten Tracks. Having a Guinness today. I'm afraid I'm not going to have a ton of beverages on this channel, unlike some of the other people who have an enormous taste for all kinds of liquors and things. I drink beer, I drink red wine. That's it. But I do listen to a lot of different types of music. So I had this conversation on text the other day with a friend of mine called David, who will be on this channel at some point, I'm sure, soon. And I was talking about that I just purchased and digitized this album. This is Danny Marino, and it's on the Membran. Sounds like some sort of high fiber cereal, doesn't it? Membran label. And it's kind of German folk music, but kind of Rod McEwen-esque. It doesn't get too pie until the second side. So anyway, I was saying to David that I had digitized, bought this album, I got it for $1, and digitized it, and he said, why? And that's a good question. Why? Well, this is Off the Beaten Tracks for number one. But two is that you never know what you're going to find when you buy a record, especially, obviously, if you listen to it. But blind buys, and I do an enormous amount of blind buys, sometimes you are very surprised in a good way, and sometimes you're surprised in a bad way. I did also buy this Clea Bradford now. She's a jazz singer. I hadn't heard of her. This is a terrific album with a beautiful cover, and this cover's in really good shape. It's on the mainstream label right there. And I'm going to put some songs from all of these albums, except for I'm having problems with Danny Marino at this point. Maybe I'll be able to find something. I put a couple of songs down below for Clea. This is one. She's got a great voice. There's some really nice arrangements on this album, and just mostly standard tunes that you'd know, but just really, really nicely presented. And see, that's why, David, that's why I buy these albums. Now, this one, Satellite Boyfriend. I don't know these guys. I buy this album. I did a little reading on them. They're on the, I think they're on the Smash label or something. Single publishing. I think it says Stew Records. Stew Records right at the bottom there. Satellite Boyfriend. They're from North Carolina, I believe. I think they only put out this one album. The song that most people know them for is Bam Bam Ba, which is a really good song. But the really good songs do not stop there. This is a terrific album. Basically kind of rock, maybe drifting slightly into the R.E.M. kind of thing, but terrific album. And got this for, I think this was $2.99, and I think I got like 10% off that or something. I bought this one in L.A., Brothers Rainbow Rider. I got this because A, it was sealed, and B, Andrew Gold was playing on it, just a session guy. But I just thought, this is really good too. This is a terrific album, kind of early 70s. They're two brothers named Guy. I think their last Danny and somebody Guy, and I'd know that if I'd done any more research on it. Tom and Danny Guy. Edna Scream and Rainbow Rider. Right off the top, the first two songs make this worth buying. Beautifully good stuff. Good pop, little bit of psych on Edna Scream. Just a terrific album. Oh, look at that cover. What a great cover. Okay, now going into a bit of iffy stuff. You can hear my cat perhaps in the background meowing. This is Bonneville Fury. Not obviously Zappa. Bonneville Fury, and it says right up here somewhere, Gino Scarpelli, who played with Gatto, is one of the guys on this album. And back in the 80s, I was in a band called Now We Played the Civilians, and we had a song on CFNY called Me Dad. You can find it on YouTube. and we got a lot of airplay, and thus, which was off a cassette we made. And we got the minorest of record contracts, which was to do 2 songs for a compilation called Toronto Calling, London Calling. And Bonneville Fury were one of the other bands on that label, it was on the Elmo Combo label. This is up and down, but there are some good songs on here, good kind of basic rock stuff. Alaska Shuffle is the song that was on Toronto Calling, and it's kind of cute. I've listened to it over the years, so it's kind of grown on me. But worth checking out if you can get it. This is a kind of a folk pop album. This is Rick Neufeld, Prairie Dog. It's on the Cubbyhole label. Now, the really interesting thing about this, especially for a couple of people on, and I can't remember his name, I apologize at the moment, somebody who has a VC channel who's huge into the Guess Who. The Guess Who are his backing band on this. Burton plays on it, I think Cale plays on it, and Gary Peterson plays on this album. I think it's from '73. Which, the Guess Who were a pretty good, I don't know why they must have known this guy, because I can't imagine they'd just be hired as session musicians. But not a bad little album, not amazing, but it's well worth checking out. I'm going to go with David Wicks, sticking with Canada all the way here. David Wiffen, kind of a deep-voiced singer-songwriter, kind of folky. He has a couple of albums. This is really good. There's a couple of songs he has covered a bunch of times. It's on the Fantasy label. Apologies to John Fogerty. Driving Wheel, and More Often Than Not, apparently been covered a number of times. There's a lot of good songs on this. Not every song is great, but especially side 2 of this, there's some really terrific songs. David Wiffen. He's got another album, as I said, Coast to Coast, both worth checking out, both good. I'm going to end today with yet another Canadian, but completely different because these people don't even speak English. In fact, they don't speak any language on this. This is Maneige, Nivent, I'm destroying this, Nivent ni Nouvelle. So this, I'm not a gigantic fan of French-Canadian pop. Apart from Pagliaro, who I really like, and mostly I like his stuff in English, I have a huge weakness for French-Canadian prog. The Kenos, the Maneige, there's a ton of these kind of bands from like the late 60s, early 70s. This is a terrific album. It's all instrumentals, I believe. And just really great sounding. I don't think I paid a lot of money for this, but just if you get a taste down below, I'll find something from this album, put it down there, and you'll see what I'm talking about. If you like this, if you like what I put down there, there's a ton of these bands. If I had done more research, I'd be able to name more than I can know, but. Yeah, it's got a sound all its own, and I highly recommend Quebecois prog. So that is my show for today. I'm going back to my Guinness. Maybe somebody in the comments can tell me, when I left this country many, many years ago, I used to drink Bass exclusively, and you can't find Bass in this country for love nor money. Guinness is as close as you get. So, anyway, please subscribe, listen to these songs from these albums. You'll see that Dave is wrong. Talk to you soon.